Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
Today we're going to talk about nuns and Christian brothers in Ireland who have done a lot of great work in the past and continue to do so.
Correct, and they did. The nuns and Christian brothers were the ones that provided education when education was not available for people during the penal times up to while Britain was in charge here. Nuns and Christian brothers and priests provided the education for people, both primary and secondary. There wasn't too many people getting a secondary education because the unfortunate people couldn't afford even to have them being educated because they wanted them to try and work and bring in a few shillings into the house. So the nuns, Christian brothers and priests provided the education, and if it wasn't for them, we'd be still semi-literate, because they provided the education going back to the start of the Christian Brothers and the Presentation Brothers by blessed the lad from Waterford, the Christian brother that started it, and Nan O'Neill started the Presentation Sisters in the 1800s. So it goes back that far. Now, nuns and Christian brothers and priests provided homes to shelter those people that couldn't afford to look after themselves. People that had children and hadn't enough money to feed them. All sorts of people that were in need got shelter and food and education, and in some cases training from the nuns if they were maybe in trades like carpentry and other sort of trades of that calibre. And of course the main thing was they got shelter, they got a bed, they got fed.
They got the basics.
And they got their religious instruction. So it's because without a religious instruction, you would not be able to develop a spiritual life. You can't develop it independently of a religious instruction.
Given the great work they've done in the past and continue to do so, why do you think they've got such a bad press?
Because you see, it's the anti-Catholic media that I spoke about earlier, the anti-Catholic in some ways, and anti-Christian governments that were being saddled with. They've had various inquiries, masquerading as inquiries, to find out what's happened in for example, the nuns that ran an orphanage and a home for mothers whose families wouldn't look after them, that was going to have children in Tuam. There was other places in the country where they provided the very same thing in all parts of the country, and so they've been looking to criticise that. Ones that are, if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't have had an education. And now they're trying to find fault with what they did and the shelter that they provided, without the proper evidence and the proper sort of what would I call it? Without the proper sort of respect for what those nuns and brothers and priests provided. And at the time when there was emigration out of the country with Irish people because there wasn't enough work in the country, we were only after getting independence, and even before that there was tenements and all the rest of it. There was people living in abject poverty. So nuns and priests and Christian brothers provided some sustenance and food and shelter. Now, to think that they're being abused and criticised by this dreadful media that we're saddled with, and ipso facto people falling in for this farce. I bought a book just recently written by Jacinta Prunty, a big book that covers all sorts of issues about these matters, including the orphanages and the places like McDillan Laundries. The narrative that they're coming out with is completely false. You will always get people, no matter where, they would find fault with even heaven. The help that they got, the thanks that those nuns deserve, is not forthcoming, because we have this anti-Catholic and Christian media and government.
Who is
And
just
truth is strange to them.
who is Jacinta Prunty? I've heard the
She's a
name.
novelist, not a novelist, a writer of factual events. I have the book. It's about 500 or 600 pages. I've only started it. Bought it in Veritas publications, because you won't get it in your normal bookstore, because it's mostly secular type nonsense that they support. You won't get something of the Jacinta Prunty type of book that will give you factual information about these matters.
So when you finish the book, you might give us an update on a few things.
I will, because the business of what I was talking about there, these poor people, when they did go looking for help for these well-to-do people that were about, because there was well-to-do people, they often got the door and be threatened with dogs and with the police. So there was no help from these people that were supposed to have money. It was only the Catholic nuns and Christian brothers and priests that provided the shelter and gave them a bit of dignity. But there would be some people that, if it suits, they'll suddenly find fault and look for what I call the king's shilling, or look for compensation and make out that they were abused or this, that or the other. Now, there's far too much of that with the aid of this anti-Christian and Catholic government and media compensation culture for all sorts of businesses without any acknowledgement of the good.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you very much.